Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today is Rob Pelinka ruining the Luka Doncic era in LA before it even begins? What are we talking about? Well, the Los Angeles Lakers have been making headlines so far this NBA free agency cycle, not because they've been making a bunch of smart, savvy moves, but because they have not been really making any moves or anything that is exciting their fan base. The only things they've done as I am recording this is they signed Jake LaRavia to a 2-year contract, and then they also just signed DeAndre Ayton to be their new starting center, who the Portland Trailblazers paid not to be on their roster anymore. And this has been a weird start to free agency because we had the whole LeBron stuff that percolated out of on Sunday after he opted into his player option. He's like, I want to compete for a championship contender. And you're like, well, what the heck's going on here? And then free agency starts. And then you start seeing one by one all of the Lakers center options just going off the board, off the board, off the board, off the board. And you're like, well, what's going on here? The one thing that the Los Angeles Lakers needed this offseason was a center. And I don't think their plan, by the way, was to hope that Portland buys out DeAndre Ayton and then sign him. And then devastating news happened to the Los Angeles Lakers when Dorian Finney-Smith, who they gave up assets for early on this past season, signs with the Houston Rockets. And this is a huge blow because if you ask Lakers fans, there was a part of the season before DFS got on the team, but when you start seeing all of those stats over the season about like, hey, how good were the Lakers over this 6-week stretch or this 2-month stretch, it was all after DFS joined the team. He was an absolute plus player. And you might be wondering, well, why did the Lakers opt not to sign Dorian Finney-Smith? Because it's not like he got paid outrageous money by the Houston Rockets. Well, it's to preserve cap space for 2 seasons from now. The Lakers are looking to save cap space for the 2027 free agency period to sign a max level player, according to David McMiniman of ESPN. Though Finney-Smith was a popular locker room figure and helped the Lakers to a 14-6 record in the 20 games he started in the regular season, LA exercised discipline in its negotiations to preserve cap space for 2027. By the way, that's a little bit of a kind of save face there for Rob Pelinka, because there was also other reporting that Pelinka and the Lakers out there were trying to like kind of devalue DFS by telling teams like, hey, his knee ain't that good, guys. He's not that good. His health's not in that good a shape, to try and, be a little bit curmudgeon-y with their money. And I think that kind of burned the bridge between the Lakers and DFS and ultimately led him to signing with the Houston Rockets. And this is a thing when we talk about the cap space here. I have a whole cap space thing here in a little bit. But ever since the Lakers traded for Luka Doncic, and the thing that annoys me about people, and they keep repeating this, is that it's half true. And they keep saying, oh, well, ever since they traded for Luka Doncic, it's all about the future. It's all about the future for the Los Angeles Lakers. They don't care about the now. And they're saying that with the like Luka Doncic is like the same age as Victor Wembanyama or Cooper Flagg, but Luka Doncic is going to be 26 this next season. And you look around the past NBA superstar championships or champions, when they start winning, it's when they start turning 26, 27, 28. Those are the years. Jokic won when he was 28. SGA just won. He's 26. Tatum last year, 26. When Giannis won, I think he was 26. Like, those are the years of when you start winning titles. And Luka, too, this is a guy that's been first team All-NBA like 4 or 5 straight years before he missed out on it this season because he was hurt. And especially, too, if you have Luka, who's by all reports is dedicating his life to diet and exercise and fitness, and we're going to be having a Luka Doncic with a chip on his shoulder who is in the best shape of his life and he's got abs, Luka can win the MVP next year. That is not a crazy thought. He's going to be probably is going to be the betting favorite headed into next year because of that stuff. So you have a guy that can win MVP next year, and you're thinking about 2 years from now. And also, too, people are saying like, well, LeBron's old. Why are you paying him $51 million a year if he's so old? It's like, I don't know. LeBron was 6th in MVP voting this past year. He was 2nd team All-NBA. LeBron was phenomenal last year. Was he maybe a tad disappointing in the playoffs a little bit? Sure, but you were also asking him to play center. And that was something that was really exerting a lot of energy with kind of those all three of the forwards that they were asking to play big for them against an incredibly big basketball team that was just, very determined to make another deep playoff run like they did the year before. And even too, if you just going back and you look at that playoff series against Minnesota, I know they lost in 5 games, but at least 3 of those losses that the Lakers had, those could have went either way. And if, they just have a center in that series, like things very much change, but there's also a lot of other bad luck that happened to the Lakers in that series. I don't know if you guys remember, Luka had the flu or something in game 3 and he was horrible in that. I think it was a game that LeBron played phenomenally and they lost. But that was a game that they were in it till the very end. Austin Reeves was hurt that entire series. He was not that good in that series. And also, too, it's like this is a bunch of guys that basically were trying to learn and play with each other because Luka Doncic got added at the trade deadline, or I guess a few weeks before the trade deadline. And Luka was hurt for a period with the Lakers. LeBron was hurt for a period with the Lakers. So you're basically playing against a team that has a lot of really good chemistry, and you're still trying to figure out yours. So I think most Lakers fans were thinking, okay, this offseason we go and figure out our center position and free agency. Maybe we make a small move in a trade to get a better center. Like they had that package ready to trade for Mark Williams. Maybe you use that package to acquire somebody else. And then you bring back DFS and you come back next year with size. Maybe during the season you upgrade the Gabe Vincent position or you upgrade the Jared Vanderbilt position. And if you have LeBron, who can at least replicate what he did last year and still play at an all-NBA level, and Luka, who will be an MVP candidate, you got a shot. You got a very good shot to make a deep playoff run, if not win an NBA championship. Now, am I saying if they do all of this stuff, it makes them like, the number 2 favorite or the top prohibitive favorite to win an NBA title? No, but there's things that you could have done in the short term to help bolster this roster, which wouldn't have sacrificed the future. I understand not giving up every single draft pick in the future and every single young, good player that you have under contract for guys that are going to be, irrelevant in the NBA by 2028, or guys that can end up leaving in free agency and you lose them for nothing with also giving up your assets. But there has to be some sort of a middle ground here, because if they did that stuff, like I said, and they brought back DFS and they, let's say they still ended up getting DeAndre Ayton and then signed Clint Capella. Let's say they did those 2 things. I don't know if we get that report from LeBron, but I think he got tipped off that, hey, DFS ain't coming back and they aren't going to be breaking the bank for any sort of center. And because it's like, obviously LeBron's tight with Rich Paul. He gave him, like, Rich Paul obviously has other clients other than LeBron. So he probably knows a lot of these moves before they're going to end up happening, or at least where a lot of these guys are going to end up leaning and going. So if I'm a Lakers fan, I'd be pretty upset. Now I'm going to get into my cap space thing here, because the 2027 year, I probably should have brought this up earlier, but the 2027 year, who are the free agents or potential free agents that year? Giannis and Jokic could opt out of their deals for that summer and be unrestricted free agents that year. That is true. But I think the Denver Nuggets just hit home runs this offseason. I think they could win the title next year. I don't think Jokic is going anywhere. If Giannis was going to leave, he can still leave. If Giannis is leaving, I'm sorry, it's in a trade. It's in a trade, and it's probably in a trade to either San Antonio or Houston. Like the Lakers, even if they do nothing, even if they get cap space, they are not going to have assets to acquire a Giannis via a trade. And I just don't think either of these guys are going to end up hitting restricted free agency. If you look around the NBA over this entire, I mean, you could go even farther back, but really since the player movement era that everyone's, so up in arms about, most of the time, these guys move different places. More often than not, it's a trade and not free agency. Like when Paul George moved around in his prime, he's getting traded places. Anthony Davis is getting traded places. We saw Damian Lillard get traded a few years ago. Every time Harden has switched a team, it's been through trade. When Russell Westbrook was obviously on his bigger contract before he started taking like $2 and $3 million contracts every time he moved from OKC to Houston to Washington to the Lakers. That was trades. Like most of the time these guys are moving, it's trades. Like really, if you take out like the 2 times KD moved and every time LeBron moved, you're looking at like the best free agent signings this century. It's basically like Jimmy Butler and then Jalen Brunson and then maybe Kawhi. But it's not that far down the top of that list. You're getting to like DeMar DeRozan's and LaMarcus Aldridge type of free agent signings with how they actually end up benefiting the team in the long term. So I don't get it. You're banking that maybe a superstar is available in 2027 in an unrestricted free agency. Like let's even say they do a trade and they don't trade for Nikola Jokic. They don't trade for Giannis. Is there a guarantee that star that they would trade for would be better than like a second team All NBA guy, which LeBron James is this season? Also, another thing too, Luka is hard to play with. Luka is not an easy guy to play with. This is a guy that struggled most of his career. That was kind of like why at some points with Dallas, it was like there was some growing pains with trying to build a team around him. Like he didn't get along with Kristaps Porzingis. And fortunate enough for him, the last few years he's been playing with like kind of perfect superstars to pair next to him because Kyrie Irving, obviously has had many years of experience playing alongside LeBron James, playing alongside KD. Like he's learned over the time like what to do when he doesn't have the ball, right? LeBron obviously spent a lot of time learning to play next to Dwayne Wade, next to Kyrie Irving, next to Anthony Davis, like, and also too, LeBron bought in and like, hey, I'm ready to play off the ball next to Luka. I'm cool with just being a forward, small ball type of center player next to Luka Doncic. Like Luka's a hard guy to play with because he has the ball in his hands. He's James Harden, but he actually produces in the playoffs. And that type of guy is hard to play with. When they monopolize everything, when everything runs through them. And like, I don't even know if Jokic is the guy that they would get, I don't even know if that's necessarily the best pairing. I don't know if that utilizes and facilitates both of what those guys do best because both those guys need the ball. So you have a guy that works with Luka now, like, why not go for it? Again, you don't have to give up everything, but can you do something? Can you not just act like you're in rigor mortis and you're like, hey, we're all about cap space. We're all about cap space. It's like, okay, guys, even look at this free agency. It's been duds. Like if guys are going to free agency and hitting that market, it's because there's a reason. Because most of the time, if teams really value these players, even if they are, guys that are fourth best guys on your team, fifth best guys on your team, sixth best guys on your team, and they're really productive players, like these teams don't let them go. They don't let them go. They just don't. Like if they do, it's usually for like if, for example, if Miles Turner left the Pacers, I think if Halliburton doesn't tear his Achilles, like the Pacers probably try a lot harder to try and bring him back. And even too, Miles Turner kind of had some rough shooting stretches throughout the playoffs, but I don't get it. I don't know what the Lakers are doing. Maybe there's another move. Maybe when you guys are watching this video, you see that like, hey, there was this other move that happened, and now look at the Lakers. Now they have a solid 7-8 man rotation, and I look like a dunce right now, and I should be wearing a dunce hat. But I don't know. It feels like they're just going to sit on their hands this entire free agency. Maybe they make one trade here or there. Maybe they get another center other than Ayton. But right now, it doesn't look like anything's really promising right now for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I don't get it. Win with Luka now and later. Now, don't give up all of your assets where you have nothing when by the time he's 30. Sure, I get that. But there's a realistic chance if you would have done a little bit of things. Do what Denver did. Denver really just like they gave up MPJ. That's really it. They gave up MPJ and then one pick when Jokic is going to be 37. And their title odds went from 16-1 to 8-1. They are not right now the second most favored team to win the West ahead of only OKC. They jumped Houston, by the way. So anyway, I've been talking too long. That's going to do it for this episode here today. Thank you very much for watching. If you got this far into the video, I love you. Hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. It helps you out so much in the algorithm. I would love you and appreciate you if you did that. Leave a comment what you think. Is this a good strategy for the Lakers? Is there other moves happening? Do you think they should trade LeBron? If they trade LeBron, what are they going to get? That's a whole other can of worms that you can probably listen to 100 different podcasts that are talking about that. I don't know what they're doing. I think there's an avenue where they could be competing for a title next year, but it seems like they don't want to. Hey, screw winning with Luka the year that he is dedicating himself to health and fitness. Screw trying to win in that year. I don't get it. Maybe it's something with the new ownership group, but I don't like it. If I'm a Lakers fan, I don't know if I'd like it either. So let me know what you think. And again, thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time.